Oke. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. Welcome. I hope this evening will be an enjoyable class, as it has proven to be so far. So this is another one. But few seconds remaining before the actual beginning of class. This is your book. And so this one is your book. This is the one that we're looking at today. Tutorial 1. Now, I know that you know that I always prefer the older resource books. So when you go inside of in your book, you will see all of the problems that I have in my book. But the problems might be numbered slightly differently. So that's not going to be too much of a problem. I just to let you know that they might be numbered a little bit differently. So all you have to do is just look at the particular problem. And let us go straight ahead and solve them. So on the board, of course, this evening is fraction tutorial. And of course, you know, it's the first tutorial in the book. Right? Let's get going. Fractions tutorial, the first tutorial inside of the book. And we have them on the board. Needless to say, I've never used this book before, so why ask if it's the same book? Maybe you asked before I took the book out. No, so this is the first time that I'm using this book, tutorial 1. Oh, right, maybe you just look at the problem and say because it is number 1 and we have the same number 1, then we are in it together. But that's not necessarily the case. We'll continue and solve the problems as we go along. Take a look at the problem itself, because all problems that I'm going to be solving are in your book, and, well, but it might not be numbered in the same way. So tutorial 1, and we are working on the fractions tutorial. Now, we have a problem there. Students, if you see something, I'm going to be writing, and I'm hoping that no one is looking at the answer sheet. Yes. So I hope that no one is looking on the answer sheet. What else? If you and I have something different, I'm sure that you can evaluate yourself to see if you are right or wrong. And then take a second look at mine. Don't ask me where I get that from. Because it might be that I am wrong and you are right. There's no one perfect. So you should attempt to point out if you think that I have made a mistake. Instead of asking me a question, where did you get that from? So if you think that I've made a mistake, it is upon you to say it. Because you have 14 books. Yes, you have 14 books. There's no perfectionist who can write 14 books for his students. So it means that if you have 14 books from me, it means that there's no way I could be a perfectionist. Perfectionists don't do those things. Perfectionists would write a single book and spend 100 years to ensure that there is no mistake inside there. Now, I am the one who I am not afraid to make mistakes. And that is why you have so many books. That's correct. I am not afraid to make mistakes, and that is why you have so many books. If I were a perfectionist, you probably wouldn't have 2 books. Right. Now, I'm going to solve this problem, and I'm going to ask a question to begin with. In solving this problem, these pair of parentheses are not necessary. Why is it that this pair of parentheses is not necessary? So the statement is, and I'm going to state it in two ways. These parentheses are not necessary. This pair of parentheses is not necessary. Why is it? So let's see. No answer? All right, no answer as yet. Students, I had a quite significant misfortune before coming inside of this classroom. And I cannot find the keys for my van, so I'm going to take a second look. In the meantime, students, put that in the chat. Tell me why is it that these parentheses are not necessary in the problem. Let's go. Here it is. Okay, so we are ready to go again. All right. No answer as yet. Now, students, I'm going to be requesting that some of you join as guests. Now, I'm going to invite all who I see that I can invite. But you know what is going to happen if you do not play the role. Okay, so of course, students who have been invited, mute your microphone unless you are ready to talk. So let's go. Let me see what this says. See? That's nice. Someone requested to be invited as a guest, and I've done it. So the fact that you're inside here as guests, you should be ready not to necessarily answer the question correctly, but of course to give me a feedback. Why do you imagine that these parentheses, these brackets are not necessary? Let's go.
When you expect it
I did not hear that. Could you please repeat that?
I think it's me up very important.
I still did not hear that. I hear you speaking, but I did not hear the words so clearly. Let's go. Could you repeat that answer again? Oh, it's because. But you're okay. It's because there is an improper fraction or a fraction raised to the second power. Oh, because there is no improper. No, that's not the correct answer. Anybody else want to make an attempt? You should be able to get in as a guest now. That's an excellent answer. All right. That's an excellent answer. All right. And the answer that you have given, that's the person. So why? Okay, I'm inviting you so you can talk. Yes, so that's an excellent answer. However, I think that the answer is lacking in a few detail and maybe cumbered by a little bit of misconception. Alright, so since I'm not going to say that the answer is not forthcoming because that's an excellent answer. The parentheses are here that we have them. It will be telling us that we need to carry out the operation that is in the parentheses first. That is what it means, that we should carry out that operation first. But in normal arithmetic, we know that we should multiply and divide before we add and subtract. So if there were no parentheses here, then we should still divide before we subtract. Because we have to, the order of operation says that we should divide before we subtract. And that is whether or not the parentheses or the brackets are there. So let's continue. Now, at this level and above, when you're writing fractions, it is more appropriate for you to write improper fractions than mixed numbers. For one, the improper fractions are easier to manipulate. For example, if I tell you to square 1 1/3, I will hear some hilarious answers. Yes, I will hear some hilarious answers. But if you convert this to an improper fraction, then squaring it is quite simple and straightforward. So let us go for improper fractions. 5 4s 20 plus 4, that's going to be 24 over 5 to be divided by 5 2s 10 plus 2, that is 12 to be divided by 5. I'm very doubtful that these two fractions are fifths. I'm going to look in my book. And don't think, why is it that someone didn't point that out to me? I don't think that both of them, right? 2 2/3. Students, you have your books. So that should have been 2 2/3, 4 4/5, 1 1/3. So we need to write this over. 3 2 6 plus 2, that's 8 over 3, minus 3 1 3 plus 1, that's 4 over 3, which we will square. Notice that I'm relaxing the parentheses because it's not necessary. At any stage, we are going to do what? Multiply and divide before we add and subtract. So the parentheses right there, the brackets, are not necessary.